and this is The Deepest Breath. The Deepest Breath on Netflix. Now, The Deepest Breath, it is a film that it's a documentary. It's a documentary film. It's about an hour and a half. And the first shot you see of this film is pretty much this person in water, in a body of water. It's either the sea or the ocean or something like that. They're surrounded by a whole bunch of other people. They have like a cap on. And the first thing you see of this film is almost kind of like a real time. The person just sort of takes a deep breath and then goes underwater. And goes underwater holding onto this rope. Just sort of like swimming straight down, holding onto this rope, going down, going down, going down, going down, going down, going down. And they just keep going, and just keep going and going. And you can actually see the light disappear. You can see it getting darker. And they keep going down. This is a person with no scuba tank, with nothing on. Just a person in a wetsuit, just going down. And then the camera angle changes, and you see that there's this sort of like disc with a tag on it. And so you're looking up at this person coming towards the screen. The person grabs the tag, turns around, and goes back the other way. And it's going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. And as the person goes up, all of a sudden there's people around them, and they're looking at this person, and the person goes up, and all of a sudden just stops. And as the person stops, everybody around them grabs this person, takes the person up to the surface, and starts like giving them CPR and all. And this is your introduction to this film. I think this is a film that could have been told in so many different ways, but the storytelling in this film is amazing. Because from the first shot, you're like, what's going on here then? Okay. Oh, that's a bit crazy. I mean, even your face as I'm explaining this
I was
film.
like, wow. I was thinking, wouldn't you get the bends or something if you go down that fast and then come up that fast?
You see, and so this is the thing, and so this is your introduction. This is the film. I think it's made by an Irish filmmaker. I've got to remember her name. I think her last name is McGann. I can't remember her first name. I'll look it up before we finish. And it's your introduction to this sport of free diving. And so free diving is essentially you go in with no scuba, with nothing like that. You just go down on one breath, and it's about how deep you can go on one breath. But then you have to turn around and come back up. So they have like a preset distance of, say, 100 meters. You've got to swim 100 meters. Excuse me. You've got to swim 100 meters on one breath, take a tag to prove that you made it all the way to the end, and then come back up. And it's a crazy, crazy sport. It's a crazy sport. And so they built this story about this sport of free diving and this community about free diving, but they sorry, my nose. They focus on one lady called Alessia Zecchini, and she's an Italian free diver. And they start telling you her story about when she was a kid and how she always wanted to do this, and how it just became like this was the only thing she ever could see herself doing. But they go in to tell you about how dangerous it is. They tell you about the people who have died doing it because they essentially went down there. They didn't quite get the bends. I think the reason I think if you have a scuba gear on, then you get the bends. If you just free dive, then you don't.
Is it because you're breathing and then it's that pressure or something? I don't know.
There is medical stuff. They have medical people who tell you why doing this stuff is a bad idea and what it does to your body. But they also frame it as an obsession for this lady Alessia Zecchini, as an obsession for her, and that this is the only thing she ever wanted to do. There's a bit of it when she was 14, and they changed the rule to say that you cannot compete internationally until you're 16, and how she just went away and trained for 2 years, so that when she came back, everybody was like, "Oh my god, this kid is amazing," and so you meet her, and they just tell the story about her. She's growing up and everything's going on, but then after a while, another story comes in. There's a guy called Steve Keenan. He's an Irish. So Steve is an Irish free diver who was kind of like an adventurer. The kind of guy who packed up and said, "I'm going to backpack around African countries at the age of 18 or something." And we just sort of every now and then send his dad a postcard to make sure that his dad knew he was still alive. And he talks about how he found free diving, and then you have these two stories between Alessia and Steve that sort of like build towards this thing, and it is so well told that after a while you're kind of like, hang on a second, why are they telling me these stories? Why are they doing it this way? Because all I've seen so far is archive footage. I haven't actually seen any current footage of Alessia or Steve.
Oh.
And I think and that's what I think the great thing about this story is the storytelling, because this could have been told in a way that would have been so straightforward, that would have said, okay, we're going to tell you what happened at the end and we're going to go backwards or anything like that. But this just says, no, we're going to tell you with no real gimmicks. We're just going to tell you a story. We're going to start from when this one was 5, when this one was 18, and how they were built up to the point where the lives intersected, what that intersection meant, and what carried on afterwards. And there is it is quite an emotional film, and there is one moment that happens later on in the film when you realize what story they're telling. When you realize what story they're telling, when you realize what actually happened. Sure enough, you could go into Wikipedia, you could look up these people, and you could figure out what happened. You can figure out what happened, but I think that would be a mistake. I think you just experience this film the way it's presented to you, and the moment where they reveal what happened and what the crux of this story is, it is one of my moments of the year, because it is just so, and all it involves is a human face. All it involves is a human face, and it's so stark, and it almost sort of like hits you in the face. You're like, whoa, whoa. So I would recommend The Deepest Breath. I think the storytelling is. Sorry, I need to go find this woman's name, because she did an amazing job, and I would not be doing her. I would be doing her a disservice if I just sort of went, yeah, the Irish filmmaker who made this film. It is directed by Laura McGann. That's it, Laura McGann, and. Yeah, I mean, I think the storytelling, the way she went through it, the way she crafted it, the way she brought other people in, the way it explains how dangerous this thing is, but you never lose sight of the human thing, and it's just, I think this is so well told. I think it is brilliant. I would give it a 4 out of 5, and I would recommend you go watch it without looking on Wikipedia to figure out who these people are and why they are so important. And even while you're watching the film, because it's on Netflix, resist the urge to go and go, ooh, Alessia, I wonder what happened with her. There's a bit where they have she has this rivalry with a Japanese free diver. Don't look up the Japanese free diver. Don't look up Don't look up Steve Keenan. Just enjoy the film. Take it in as it is. You will be rewarded, because it is a very, very brilliantly told documentary. It is so well told. And that is all I will say about that.
Sounds interesting. I was always curious to see, because culturally, you always used to get like the pearl divers, didn't you? People who would dive for the reason for going to get pearls off, and they would dive quite deep, wouldn't they? On
one breath, yeah.
They would just like just go down. So did it sort of grow from that sort of thing? These sort of cultural phenomena that they sort of expanded it. But it's interesting. I might have to check this out just to see if it answers any of my questions.
After you watch the film, yes. After you watch,
yeah.
After you watch the film, before just in case, looking at the cultural thing of
come across something. No,
exactly.